Alright guys, welcome back to another episode of Amir Stocks Live. Right now I just wanted to take a quick second to talk about some critical dividend stocks that are worth grabbing right now simply because of the cheap price they're at. The beauty of grabbing a dividend stock very cheap is that as it starts coming back up in value, not only do you end up investing, but you also end up having a dividend portfolio, right? So the point of investing, investing versus trading, point of investing is supposed to be that you put your money into a stock that will over time grow, right? And then you of course end up making more money. The trading aspect is usually more so like a day trading thing where you buy something in the morning because you know it's going to skyrocket today due to some news you might have heard or some hype you might have heard, and then boom, it goes up and you hold it for 24 or 48 hours and then you sell it. Usually a very common practice with penny stocks. With dividend stocks, if you can grab a stock that's cheap and then it gets big, not only did you make profit on that, but you're also going to have a stock that's going to be paying you monthly or quarterly dividends depending on what you're looking at. So I'm going to talk about three stocks that are something I want to put on your radar. As you can tell lately, and you can see all the stocks that are on my screen right now, everything's sinking, right? So these guys are especially cheap, and they might have actually gotten cheaper since the last time I made the annotations here. So the two highlighted on my screen right now are two quarterly dividend paying stocks, CIM and NLY. This is Chimera and Annaly Capital. So these guys, they're currently priced at around, CIM is 1178, NLY is 844, and they're both giving great cost to payout ratios. As you can see, these are the smallest numbers of all the different cost to payout ratios for some of the most common or well-renowned dividend paying stocks out there right now. They're paying very good amounts for the price that you're actually putting into the stock. And then that being said, once these stocks become more expensive, the cost to payout ratio won't be the same anymore. This is one of the reasons I like looking at the cost to payout ratio more than the dividend percentage. Usually dividend percentage and cost to payout ratio will go hand in hand. However, the cost to payout ratio will reflect more because this dividend percentage won't really be changing over time for a very long time. Usually for most stocks the dividend percentage stays the same and might have a tiny minuscule change just as either the business gets better or worse. But if the cost of the stock changes, if it becomes very, very expensive, the cost to payout ratio will become worse, right? So right now you can see the best thing for you would be to have a cost to payout ratio closer to 1. So this is what we're seeing right here. These two guys have a cost to payout ratio under 40, whereas everything else here is above 40, right? The only other close guys are Lumen, EPD, and that's about it. Right, so I have Lumen. Actually, I have EPD on this page twice by mistake, so let's get rid of that. All right, so CIM and LOI. Let's look at first CIM, Chimera Investment. This is a stock I have huge hopes for. So you see today it's still around the same price as it was, but just yesterday I believe it had gone up quite a bit. See, so it went up to 1226, and then again markets are red right now, so things came back down. So this is another chance now to grab this, right? Because I've already bought let's see, so I have 1,000 of it. I have 1,000 of it that I caught at 1178. So it's actually back to the price I bought it at, even cheaper than the price I bought it at by 2 cents. Those 2 cents mean a lot when you're buying 1,000 of it, right? And on top of that, over time, if this goes forward and keeps going up in value, that's going to be wonderful. I'm never really going to sell this, right? Because my goal is to hold on to as many Chimera investment stocks as I can, and for the longest time, as long as the stock continues to pay this 11.7% dividend yield, I'm happy, right? This is going to help me establish a passive income over time, and if it ever comes to where I do want to sell it, then hopefully the stock would have grown quite a bit. And if we look at how it's been doing in the one-year trend ever since the massive dip in March 2020 due to coronavirus pandemic hitting, then you can see it's been pretty stable, and if anything, it's had a slightly upwards trend. But what the beauty of it is that you want to understand that pretty much every single stock took this hit in March, right? And then some of them came back up quick, some of them continue sinking, many businesses just closed. The point is though, as things get better in the next few years, I'm hoping that this is going to go back to where it was before the pandemic. And you look at the trend before the pandemic, it was also somewhat of a positive slope, but if at the very least it was stable, right? It was stable, flatlining. So you can see like April 2016 over here, the price was under, or let's just say average $13, right? $13. And then come to like November or October 2019, it came up to $20, right? So in the entire time, it was going upwards. And then boom, it took a massive sink from 22 to $7.69 as soon as the pandemic ruined all the stock market. And it would have been wonderful to grab it at that price. And thankfully, over the last year, it's really not gone up much. So it's still around the same price range. And today, it's come back down to the price I already bought in at, which is 1,000 of them at 11.78. Right. So right now it's 11.76, going even down to 11.75. Keep it on your radar because right now markets are red. Right. Things are not looking too good lately, and things can go down even more. And that would be a great opportunity to grab the stock. Right, this is one of them. The other one I want to look at with you guys is NLY, Annaly Capital. This is also related to New York. So I'm in New York, and of course, most of you guys won't really know me because it's a brand new channel. But in my previous video, I did introduce myself, and I'm going to continue talking about myself as I become more and more popular in these videos. But I live in New York, I'm a doctor here, and I actually have another YouTube channel called USMLE Live where I teach for the United States Medical Licensing Exam. Teaching has always been a passion of mine, and it's something that I've always just enjoyed, as well as medicine. One of the reasons I do like medicine is because I can teach in that field forever, right? You teach patients, you teach other students. When it came to stocks, over the year with the pandemic, just like many others, I also dove into the whole field of learning how stocks work, investing here and there, stuff like that. Mainly I was investing into stocks that are related to healthcare because there are a lot of penny stocks that are pharmaceutically based, and they tend to have massive skyrocketing moments whenever they make a major discovery or major advancement in their research. So I like to talk about these things and share what I'm going to be doing with my money over time as I progress in my career of medicine, right? So here we are looking at the second stock, which has gone down even more than what I had here. So now look, if I update my table right now to what it is worth, now, when I made the table it was 844. Now I'm going to change that to 827, and you're going to see how the cost to payout ratio actually changes. So you see now it became even closer to 1, right? It became smaller. That means it became an even better cost to payout ratio, and it's worth grabbing. This is very cheap right now. Undoubtedly one of the best cost to payout ratio dividend stocks to buy. Why is that such a big deal? Well, that means that, with dividend stocks, what are we trying to do here? So as you can see, if you own 100 of NLY, you're going to get $22 every quarter. Now multiply that by more and more tens, right? So if you own 1,000 NLY, you would get $220 every quarter. And if you own 10,000, then you would get $2,200 every quarter. And if you do that one more time, if you own 100,000 NLY stocks, you would be getting $22,000 every quarter. That's $88K a year, which is basically a full-time job, passive income. Not an impossible feat. And right now, with this stock being this cheap, it's totally something that you can over time accomplish. So let's say we were supposed to be buying that much, right? So in dollars. So let's say, actually not in dollars, in shares. What is this? No, spam likely. Spam likely is always there to get rid of my loneliness, right? So let's put this right here. So 100,000 right there. So that means that over time you'd be buying $828,580 worth of this stock. If you can do it, right, then you would be making $22,000 passive income every month, every quarter, I mean. So $88,000 every year. That's wonderful. That's not so far-fetched. Of course, for millionaires, this is clearly significantly easier to do. This is why people that are very rich continue to get very rich. For us who aren't exactly millionaires, what we can do is over time invest into this and build it up, right? My goal right now is with NLY, CIM, and the third one we're going to talk about to just keep harboring more and more of them, depending on who's the cheapest at the time, and then just grow it so that in total I can own 100,000 copies of all three stocks combined, right? So maybe like 50,000 of one and 20,000 of the other and 30,000 of the third one, and then boom, that would be passive income that is just going to be there for me saving my money into the account rather than saving in a savings account, which won't give me any more than 0.05%. which is terrible. That's trash, right? So this is wonderful. Annaly Capital is showing amazing results. Now, even if you're not looking at the big picture, right? If you can get $220 by owning 1,000 of the stock every quarter, you get $220. That's pretty nice. That's pretty nice, right? That covers at least something in your life, minimum expenses if nothing. But it's nice. It's just passive money that's coming in for not really doing much. And you can actually use those $220 to buy more of the Annaly Capital if you want to, right? That's the purpose of reinvesting into stocks. The third one I want to look at and put on your radar is a monthly dividend paying stock, right? So there's two I've highlighted here. There's ORC and PFLT. So let's look at both of them. But what I really want you guys to focus on is the PFLTs. But we'll look at both of them. So let's first look at ORC, right? Orchid Island Capital. This is actually a Florida real estate one, okay? I have 1,000 stocks of this as well, right? I got it while it's still pretty cheap. It has a pretty decent cost to payout ratio, as you could tell from these guys, the monthly dividend paying stocks. Their cost to payout ratio won't be under 40 like it was for the quarterly guys, but it's still pretty friggin' nice. It's pretty nice. So you can see this guy, ORC, pays 13.41 dividend percentage. PFLT pays 11.24, and they're the two best monthly dividend stocks, right? So monthly, so if I own 100 of it, I would get $6.50, right? Because that's what that comes out to. As you can tell, the prices are significantly smaller. So even though it's a big percentage, the cost to payout ratio isn't going to be that bomb because it's just the small numbers that you're working with. However, because you're working with small numbers, it makes it easier to grab vast amounts of it, right? To grab vast amounts of it. So this is actually cheaper than what it was over here. So if we update this now, it got cheaper than when I first made the table. So if we update this now, the cost to payout ratio becomes even better, right? ORC is great to grab. If you can grab 100,000 of this guy, so look at how much it would be to grab 100,000 of this. Right, so if you wanted to grab 100,000 of this stock, it's 556,000. That's about $500,000. Over time, totally doable, especially depending on what your job is, what your income is, stuff like that. You can definitely do it, right? And if you have 100,000 of this, you will still be making a really nice amount of money every month coming in passively with not much major effort, right? It's a good place to save your money too. And if you look at the trend it's been following over the year, ever since the dip, it has clearly been a positive upstroke. Not a crazy high slope, but it has been going up. It's got its moments of dipping back up and down like in ECG, which is really annoying to look at. I hate seeing ECG trends where you have the QRS complex over and over, but that's what I kind of keep seeing. And I love doing this ECG complex kind of thing that I talk about because it just comes from my medical background. But it's just really annoying to see that. But overall, it's been able to maintain itself pretty positive. And if you look at it how it was pre-pandemic, it was basically going downwards due to major events that were taking place in Florida due to Disney-related stuff and flooding and whatnot, right? But now it's on a recovery trend. And chances are that it'll recover and stay pretty stable at above $5. It's going to stay above $5. And I feel like now with Disney doing big things and Disney World possibly becoming more popular, more renowned, and things becoming better with the pandemic going away, there's a chance this might grow even more. So if I see it growing past the the $7 mark, the $6 mark, as I see it growing past that, I'll definitely try to grab more before it reaches back to the $10 point. But I'm not 100% sure where this is going to go. So it's something that I didn't really want you guys to focus on too much, but since I'm watching it, I do want to talk about it. The third stock that I really wanted to talk about myself is PFLT. So this is Pennant Park Floating Rate, right? This is also a New York investment services stock. So all three of the ones I really wanted to point out to you guys are related to New York investment services or New York real estate. And this one right now is at 11.92. So when I made my table, it was at 12.1. Now it's 11.92, right? So the cost to payout ratio 132. Now I have 225 shares of this because I bought the other things first, but I plan to grow this as well. Why? Because if we look at the one-year trend, again, pretty positive. And if we look at how it was pre-pandemic, before the big dip, it was pretty stable. It's pretty stable stuff, right? Now, one of the key things I'm focusing on is the fact that a lot of companies and a lot of industries are investing into New York right now because post-pandemic, there's a lot of things that are vacated now. During the pandemic, many businesses had to close. No one was able to handle the rent of shops, which can be from anywhere from $5,000 a month to $10,000 a month, depending on where you're located. Things in Manhattan even had a rent of $13,000 to $15,000 or even $20,000 a month. So those rents were obnoxiously high and not something that many businesses could handle, of course. Now that New York is reopening back to where it was pre-pandemic, thanks to the vaccine and all the other efforts of everyone else, there's a lot of investment that's going to be open for gain right now, right? So this is very likely going to either stay at 12 or go up to maybe 15. Either way, with dividend stocks, we don't care for them to go up that much. What we care for is for them to just stay where they are, maybe slightly come down if anything, but stay where they are and have minute hiccups of up and down. Because as long as they can stay where they are and just keep a minimum change up and down, then they're going to continue paying their dividends, and we're going to be happy with that. Right? PFLT gives you $9 a month if you own 100 of it, and that's wonderful. That's wonderful because then as soon as you can own 1,000 of it, you'll get $90 a month. That's enough to cover a gym membership and possibly something else. One other chronic membership you might have, whatever monthly service subscriptions you might have, you can cover with these, and that's it. Right? So this is pretty nice. This is nice. It's like covering for your YouTube Premium, your Netflix account, and a gym membership at the same time. That's wonderful. No savings account is going to do that for you. You want to grab this as fast as you can before it finally comes back to above $12, because that's kind of where it was the whole time, right? Pre-pandemic. So it's making a recovery trend already. A good time to grab it earlier would have been like October 2020, where it was still at the $8 mark. Now it's approaching the $12 mark. I've grabbed 225 of it. I'm going to keep my eyes on this in case it goes down more right now, although it's very unlikely because investment is big in New York right now and things are pretty stable here. So, we're going to be staying at probably around the $12 mark from here onwards. All right, so that's it for this video. I wanted to take out some time to talk to you about these 3 key dividend paying stocks that are at a perfect price right now. Grab them if you're interested in making a dividend portfolio. And then I'll catch you guys again later, and we'll talk about some other stock-related chats.